All rise. The United States District Court in and for the Southern District of Illinois is now in session. The Honorable Riona J. Daly presiding. All persons having business before this honorable court, draw near, give attention, and you shall be heard. God save the United States of America and this honorable court. Please remain standing for the presentation of colors and the singing of our national anthem. As you may or may not know, the state of Illinois has 3 federal judicial districts in the state, starting from north to south. You are here today, if you don't know, in the Southern District of Illinois, and that's why I'm here. It covers the lower 38 counties of the state. Within that district, we have 2 courthouses, one in East St. Louis and one in Benton. I sit in Benton, which is why you are here in what I call the southernmost part of the Southern District of Illinois. I understand, I talked to a few of you before we got started, and I would say the overwhelming majority of you probably had at least a 2-hour drive to get here. So thank you for making that trip. I think you will find it's worth it. It's a wonderful ceremony and a culmination of a long journey. So thank you. I did talk to one candidate, however, who lives 5 minutes from here. And so he thanks you all for driving as far as you did. I, along with United States District Judge David Dugan, will be presiding over this proceeding. I say proceeding because this is a court proceeding. This is not a courthouse, but it is a court proceeding. It may not look like it. We have these in the courthouse sometimes, but we like to get out and do them in the community so that more members of the community can participate and experience this event. And just so that we have more room, because this is a room full of people that I don't know that we could fit in our courthouse. So thank you. On behalf of the court, I would like to welcome the candidates, friends, and family on this wonderful occasion. In a few moments, you will take an oath. It is my administer the oath and welcome you as citizens of the United States of America. This is a pivotal milestone in your life, which you will always remember. You all have taken different paths to this place and have different reasons for taking the journey. But today, you will all share this accomplishment, and I want to be the first to congratulate you. I made a point to tell you that this is a court proceeding. Let me assure you that this is the best kind of court proceeding that I preside over. In court, almost always someone leaves unhappy. Today, everyone is going to leave happy. We have winners and losers in court, but today we are all winners for being here. Believe me, contrary to what you may think, nothing makes a judge happier than everybody being happy. Today is a celebration of you, your journey, and your accomplishment. You have worked hard to get here, so enjoy it. Although we are sitting in the southernmost part of the Southern District of Illinois, I like to point out that we have 62 candidates from 33 countries here today. We have candidates from Argentina to Vietnam, from China and Taiwan, from Russia and Ukraine, from India and Pakistan, and many others like Canada and Australia and United Kingdom. Like I said, there's a whole lot of countries represented here today. We have candidates from every continent other than Antarctica. We have candidates from all walks of life, different native languages, different beliefs, that joined in the common goal to become a citizen of the United States. As we welcome you as new citizens, we welcome your background, your rich heritage, your unique experiences into the American fabric of life. In the oath, you swear to support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States. But we do not ask you to abandon your life experience, your individuality, or your unique journey. We embrace your story, and our country is stronger because of it. The oath you're about to take has been given to new citizens for over 200 years. You are now part of the rich history of this country, each with your individual pathway to this place in citizenship. On behalf of the court, we welcome you wholeheartedly and enthusiastically. At this time, the court recognizes Karalia Rajagopal, Assistant United States Attorney for the Southern District of Illinois.
Good morning. My name is Karalia Rajagopal, and on behalf of the Department of Homeland Security and the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, I am so pleased to present to the court 62 candidates from 33 countries for naturalization whose applications have been approved by the Attorney General of the United States. I respectfully request that the court administer the oath of allegiance to these candidates for naturalization.
Karalia has been shown to the satisfaction of the Department of Justice that these applicants have resided in the United States during the period required by the acts of Congress, and that during all of these periods they have been and still are persons of good moral character, attached to the principles of the Constitution of the United States, and disposed to the good order and happiness of the United States.
On behalf of the Department of Justice, I am authorized to say that this showing has been made.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to take the oath of allegiance to the United States. The oath has two parts. In the first part, you will absolutely and entirely renounce allegiance to any foreign state or sovereignty. In the second part of the oath, you will swear to support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. These words are plain. The oath means what it says. I charge you that if any person among you has a different intention in taking the oath, you reveal it now to the end of the petition for naturalization filed by that person may be withdrawn or dismissed. At this time, would you please stand and raise your right hand and repeat after me. Feel free to refer to the oath printed in the program. I know it's long. I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen, that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by law, that I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by law, that I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by the law, and that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. Welcome as citizens of the United States of America. It is now my honor and privilege to introduce our keynote speaker. The court conducts several naturalization ceremonies each year, and we have different speakers each time. Each time we try to have a speaker with a meaningful perspective to share with you. Today, I am proud to introduce one of our own, United States District Judge James Dugan. Judge Dugan was appointed as a United States District Judge for the Southern District of Illinois on September 16, 2020. He received his Bachelor of Arts from Eastern Illinois University and his Juris Doctorate from Valparaiso University School of Law. Judge Dugan was in private practice for more than 30 years before serving as a circuit judge for the 3rd Judicial Circuit of Illinois. In 2020, he was commissioned as a United States District Judge upon the nomination of President Donald Trump and confirmation of the United States Senate. In preparation for today, I called Judge Dugan and asked him whether he had a bio or a biography to read. People who speak often have prepared biographies. Interestingly enough, he gave me permission to make up whatever I wanted in his introduction. Let me tell you, it's not often that you get that opportunity with regard to one of your bosses. Unfortunately, I could not come up with anything embarrassing to say about Judge Dugan. I will say that he is a distinguished judge, a role model for all of us, and a wonderful colleague. I think you're going to enjoy his remarks, so please join me in welcoming Judge David Dugan.
Good morning. I love doing these because all the smiling faces. And as the judge pointed out a moment ago, we don't often get to see everyone smiling. You've had a good reason to smile today. I want to welcome you as well. I want to give you a special personal welcome. And I'll tell you a little bit in a little while why that is special to me. Right now, though, I'd like to just a little bit of history. I'm a history buff. I particularly love American history. And I know you all have learned a lot about America. It's part of your curriculum to come here today. Be mindful, though, in the 1780s, a handful of men decided they wanted nothing to do with another country because they were being mistreated. And they decided to make their home here in what we enjoy now as the United States of America. But really, there was a writer in those days that indicated this is a great social experiment, a political experiment that had never been tried anywhere else in the world. Now you're part of that experiment. They asked questions during the time they were discussing the proper constitution should be put in place. It was democracy versus a republic, type of government. Won't get into that too much, but what came out of that was very interesting. They asked some questions. One, is it possible for free men and women to govern themselves? Can they have a representative government like we have, without tyranny, without dictatorship, without a monarch? Remember, we come from a monarch. And lastly, they asked, can it be sustained? Can it be sustained for decades, for centuries, or just years? And of course, we know we've sustained a goodly period of years through much turmoil. So whether we can answer yes to those questions is largely up to you. Now, as American citizens, you're part of this social experiment. You're part of this political experiment. You and I, everyone here, American citizens, are now part of this experiment, this wonderful, wonderful experiment that has sustained itself longer than I think any of that handful of men thought it might. So a moment of encouragement. I would encourage you to continue to study American history. It is full of great stories, great men and women doing great things, not just for other Americans, but for people around the globe. I would encourage you to look at the good history of this country and the bad history. We have both. We have more good than bad. You'll find in that quest that, in fact, the United States is incredibly benevolent, the most benevolent country on the face of the earth. It has, in the 20th century, a number of wars occurred. In none of those wars, where we were always victorious, did we take an acre of land from another country, except to bury our dead. So take pride in this great experiment. Enough history. I'm going to tell you about a man I never knew, heard of do. I'll tell you about a gentleman by the name of Joe Cuellar. Joe Cuellar was born in the early 1900s. We're not sure when, but we think right around the turn of that century. He was born in a little town called Candela, Mexico. Candela, Mexico, most of you, I'm sure, have never heard of Candela, Mexico. It's a very small, dust-ridden town, even today. But in the early 1900s, it was really small. And if you were born there and you died there, probably every day was going to be the same for you. There's not much opportunity for advancement, not much opportunity to acquire any level of wealth beyond just sheer poverty. He came from a very poor family in this little desert town. They had nothing. It was pretty much hand to mouth. And as he got older, and when I say older, I'm talking about in his late teens, he heard about the United States. And he got word that they were looking for workers in Texas. And he traveled by foot from Candela, Mexico, to a little town, nobody seems to know what it was, in Texas, where he was put to work in the fields. So of course, that's seasonal work, ran out of work, but he had heard there was work up in in Tennessee and Kentucky. So he made a trip to Tennessee, in Dover, Tennessee, actually. And this is again back now we're in the late teens, 1900s, very difficult times. He found he was poor. He was not as poor as he was in Candela, but he was still poor. He was what we call a daily laborer, where they worked for their food and a little bit of money. But he was blessed, and he met a young lady by the name of Eva. Eventually, they were married and had 7 children. Coal mine work is what he had in Kentucky. If you know anything about coal mine work, it was very difficult. And it's not a place, unlike Candela, Mexico, places where advancement's simply not going to come your way. But he wanted to work for his family, even though they were very poor. So they moved to Illinois, a town just 2 hours north of here called Dow, Illinois. It's a small town, it's still there. It was small when he moved there in about 1920, we think. He was still poor, but he had acquired the ability to work as a carpenter. He'd been trained in a coal mine to work as a carpenter as well. We're so poor And work was so, remember this, now we're into the late 1920s, and the economy was really bad. We had the Depression, of course. And he had mouths to feed. They were so poor they hunted for food up and down. Not out of sport, but out of necessity to feed his family. But the stories I'm told about Joe was that he loved America. He loved Americans. He would often say that the thing he likes about Americans is there's a brotherhood and sisterhood. And even though we're all different backgrounds, we're all the same as Americans. Despite being very, very poor, he had a rule in his house of 7 kids. It's a 2-bedroom house that was just recently torn down. I'm saying recently, on my age, 20 years ago. But he had a rule of all these kids. If you had an extra penny, or by God's grace, you had a nickel, you would put that in this coffee can that he kept in the bedroom. Untouched, no matter what happened, you don't touch that. And that money was only accessed during the week of July 4th, each year. He loved America so much that he put the money aside, even though they were hungry at times, I'm sure, he had money aside so that he could buy some fireworks and some candy for the neighborhood kids and the families, and they would come over on July 4th in the evening, set up fireworks, enjoy themselves, and talk great things about the United States. That was his favorite holiday, July 4th. One of his daughters was actually born on that day. He said, of course, I didn't know this man, but he had said that he loved America and he loved Americans. He loved the opportunities that America offers to everyone, including those who come from other countries. They're often very welcome. And he said he was always welcome. He preached to his children that America comes with responsibility, it comes with obligations that come along with the freedom. He loved America because he knew that coming to America would mean a better life for his children, for himself, for his grandchildren. I told you a moment ago that this was a special honor to welcome you here. It's a personal honor to welcome 62 new United States citizens. But to welcome all of you as American citizens is personal, largely because that I'm sure that Joe Quayler, immigrant from this dusty nowhere Kendale town, never imagined that his grandson but today have the opportunity and the privilege to welcome as the United States federal judge 62 new American citizens. I owe much to my grandfather, Joe Quayler, who died the year I was born. Man I never knew, who gave me the great gift of being an American and would not be here otherwise. It's my hope and it is my fervent prayer that your decision to become United States citizens will benefit and bless your children, your grandchildren, and their children whom you may never know, in ways you'll never know, just as Joe Quayler's decision benefited me. God bless each of you. God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Dugan. I'm not supposed to make the presiding judge tear up. At this time, I would like to introduce our soloist, Carlin Zimmerman. She led us in the national anthem earlier. She's going to share something with us today. Carlin is a friend of mine and probably the most talented person I know. And she has graciously agreed to share her talents with us all this morning.
Spacious skies,
our United States Marshal, David Davis, who is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. That may also be printed in your program.
Please stand.
First of all, congratulations.
I pledge allegiance Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we conclude, I would like to recognize those who have served an important role in making this event happen. This doesn't just happen easily. I would first like to thank, if there's any representatives from John A. Logan College here, for allowing us to use your beautiful space and a big enough space for us on a beautiful day and enjoy your campus. I would like to thank District Judge David Dugan for his words, which I think were inspirational. I'd like to thank Carolia Rajagopal, our Assistant United States Attorney. Over here on my far left is Monica Stump. She is our Clerk of Court. Next to her, as you met, is David Davis, our United States Marshal for the district. Carlin Zimmerman, who I'm sure we all enjoyed her operating today. I would like to thank the Heartland Young Marines for being here. I'm sorry we couldn't get you out of school today to be here because it is the summer, but thank you for presenting our colors today. Jamie Nelson, wait, Jamie, is my courtroom deputy. Nothing happens unless Jamie says it happens. To her right is Chris LeBouy. She is our courtroom deputy, or I'm sorry, courtroom reporter. And in case you haven't noticed, she's been taking down everything that has been said today. In the back is Christy Rinsing, Kara Williams, and Leslie Odom from the United States District Court. Christy is responsible for the organization and all of the legwork, and I think the three of them were here maybe before you all left your house this morning to get here to set things up. So thank you. We have Rich Donner from Knowledge Legal Video, who has recorded this, and I understand that his information should be in the program, so if you want a video of this. And last but not least, I do want to thank the Daughters of the American Revolution. I understand, please wave the representatives from the Daughters over here. In the back are the Daughters of the American Revolution, who are wonderful supporters of this ceremony, and may have some things for you, I'm not sure, today. So, thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. Jean's going to close court, and then I'll give you a little bit of information before you go.
There being no further business before this honorable court, court is now adjourned.
Congratulations again. Please enjoy this day. I think you've earned it. In the back where you signed in this morning, where you registered, are your certificates available for you to pick them up. After you pick up your certificate, if you would like to have a photo with myself, and I assume Judge Dugan will participate in that as well. No autographs, just photos. If you would like to come in and have a photo, we'll have a spot by a flag for you to take a photo if you want to do that. Thanks. Enjoy.